First and foremost, I just want to say that I hope and I give my internet wishes out into the universe, and I hope that Curtis One is doing okay. I hope that Curtis One is fine. I hope that Curtis One is doing well with his current situation. I don't know the details. I don't know the ins and outs, but the last video that he posted, it seemed and it appeared obviously obvious that he was in a hospital, and I don't know anything more beyond that. But all bullshit aside, all sarcasm aside, all 13 Shades of Grey bullshit aside, I hope and I wish him best. I mean, Curtis One is an old school. He's an old school in my memory bank. In my memory bank, in my mind, and in my reality. Um, when Blog TV and YouTube shared a symbiotic relationship for that short period in time, like 10 years ago, Curtis One was an OG, and there's not that many OGs when it comes to the YouTube community. Whether they fell off the map, or they moved on, or they passed on, whatever. There's not that many OGs that are around these days still uploading videos onto YouTube and giving you a slice of their life, giving you a slice of their reality, giving you a slice of their moment in time, their situations, their circumstances, their reality. So I just saw the recent video by TDC, and it forced me to make this video on the fly. And by the way, Curtis, I hope you're doing good. I hope you're alright. I hope everything's smooth sailing here on out. I hope everything's smooth sailing here on out, and I wish you the best, dude. I wish you the best, bro. I wish you the best, buddy. And just to get it out of the way, today is September the 4th of the year 2021. Just to prove to all of you and to myself that we are indeed on the same algorithm and on the same timeline that we've been on for the past 35 years. So that's still real. That still exists. That still exists. And that still is a reality, unfortunately. Or a blessing, however you wish to see it. There's always two sides to a coin. And so, yeah. September the 4th, 2021. And I was watching the most recent TDC video, and I forgot the name of the title, something about jerking off in castles or something, I don't know. Something about jerking off in castles and online dating. If you're familiar with TDC, you'll know that all of his videos are about living in a castle and masturbating and online dating. You should know that by now. I mean, it's a given. You should know that by now. But the main reason I hit record on the fly at 2 o'clock in the morning on September the 4th of the year 2021 was not only to prove that the algorithm is still intact, it has not been hacked. It has been hacked in the past, but it's been restored through the gods and goddesses of the cosmos, and they put it back together, and now it's back doing its high frequency, low frequency gimmick. So, but the main reason I hit record was because TDC in his most recent video I feel like I'm stuttering like a motherfucker in this video. Like I'm like, when it comes to pronouncing my S's, I don't know if it's the like, since I roll my R's like a beaner, and I can be like, Josevier. When it comes to pronouncing my S's, I'm like, they kind of leak and they don't really. Since I can do the, I can't really like. Anyway, wow, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways, and yes, those were just gunshots that you heard at 2 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, something's never changed in the hood. But anyway, the main reason, no bullshit, the main reason why I hit record is because TDC was uploading a video about castles and masturbation, and it started talking about hospitals. Now, TDC talking about hospitals ties in to Curse 1, and hospitals, Curse 1, it created a whirlwind in my brain. And when it comes to Hispanic folk, not that we're exclusive, because I'm sure this goes for everybody. Everybody thinks and feels this way at least one point in their lives or another. Hispanic, Mexican, whatever the fuck you want to call it, we don't trust hospitals all that much. I can't speak for everybody. That's a given. You start talking about hospitals and people start going into their conspiracy theories and they're like, oh, you're insane. Oh, you're paranoid. Oh, you're an idiot. You're listening to too much Alex Jones. And TDC mentioned something about, T mentioned it in a video publicly. I assumed that I could talk about it as well. And he made a video stating or saying that he recalls an instance where his grandpa was calling him for help or saying, what should I do, or help me, get me out of the situation. These hospitals were trying some weird stuff. I don't want to be here. I'd rather just die at home or in my own bed, or whatever. And you take that, and that, and it reminds me of an instance when I was in 8th grade. Real life, true story. I was in 8th grade. I wasn't even a freshman in high school yet. And I had a biology teacher, and her name, I'm not going to, even though it doesn't really matter, but I'm not going to dox anybody. We'll just call her Miss Gomez, all right? We'll call her Miss Gomez. And when I was in 8th grade, I was one of the only nerds that actually cared about biology. I was the first one to read through the chapters and fill out the worksheet and finish the test and turn it in. And I was just that nerd, that in my own mind nerd, and I always loved biology. I always loved chemistry. But anyway, so Miss Gomez, I remember she asked the class, and like half of the students were asleep. And I remember Miss Gomez in 8th grade. True story, no bullshit. This isn't satire. This isn't a joke. This isn't a gimmick. This isn't a ha 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 funny story. This is a true story. I was in 8th grade, and my biology teacher asked us if we were organ donors. Or she just brought up the topic in general. And again, I forget how the topic came about. But she started talking about, this is a class full of 8th graders with only like 4 students actually listening and the other 20 students doing whatever the hell they were doing. There was no smartphones then, so there's that. But the topic of organ donors came about, and I was the only one like paying attention. I was like, tell me more. And she was like, don't become an organ donor. She was really adamant about this. True story. 8th grade. I'm not even a freshman yet in high school. I'm in 8th grade biology class. And Miss Gomez is telling me, it's not, I don't know if it's such a good idea. You don't want to be an organ donor. Because it just so happens when it comes to certain hospitals, if you're in some type of car crash or an accident or whatever type of freak accident, right? And you're in the emergency room, one of the first things the hospital looks at, they look at your info, they look at your date of birth, where were you born, how old are you, what's your blood type. And after those 4 or 5 credential mega checks, they check if you're an organ donor. And she was trying to reiterate the fact that if you're an organ donor, and for whatever type of freak accident you may be in and you're in the ER, sometimes, not always, not that this is a fucking 100% fact, she was reiterating the fact to me because nobody else was listening. She was like, if you're in the ER and you're in, for example, you're in some kind of car crash and this and that, if you're an organ donor, they'll put you on the back burner and they'll let you sit there for an extra 20, 30 minutes just to see if you don't just die of natural causes or if you die of substantial injuries or substantial head trauma and he's just a lost cause, so let's just pull the plug because he's an organ donor, and once he flatlines, we get all your juicy organs, and that's profit for the state, that's profit for the hospital, that's profit for medicine, that's profit for everybody that has a fucking degree in being a surgeon, biology, medical field, whatever. And you could say, oh, you can yell at your computer right now. You can throw your computer across the room and say, that's fucking bigoted. That's bullshit. That's fucking stupid. Who the fuck does she think she is? Who the fuck? That's fucking retarded. That's fucking stupid. You can say anything under the sun. But it got me to thinking. And I was like, you have a point. I'm not saying it's 100% fact. I'm not saying that this always happens. But it opened my mind. It opened my third eye. And I was like, I can see that happening in certain circumstances. And the aura or the circumstance of, well, he's on respiratory, he was in a car crash, he's kind of hanging on, but he's not all there, but he is there. You start looking through your shit, oh, well, he's an organ donor. How about we just wait 30 more minutes, we'll attend these other people, and 30 minutes we'll come back to him, and if he dies, well, he dies, but he's an organ donor, so. Something to think about. This isn't a 100% fact. I can't prove this, but think about it. Hospitals would never do that to me. They love me. Okay. Everybody has to make up their own goddamn mind, and everybody has to make up their own goddamn decisions as to what you're going to do when your life's on the line, when you're next on the chopping block. You have to make those decisions for yourself, not for anybody else, but for yourself. And I remember this topic came up a few years later. We're in high school, and this topic came up about organ donating. This was fucking 15 years ago, and none of us were organ, except for one homeboy. We called him Chicago, and Chicago was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm an organ donor, dog. Fuck yeah, I'm an organ donor. Why not? Why not?" And we started talking about these little what if circumstances. And we're like, dude, like, If you're teetering, if your life's teetering on the yes, no, maybe so, a hospital, they looked at you're an organ donor, they just might put you like on the, we'll attend you in 30 minutes. Just wait 30 minutes, please. And if they're lucky and you flatline and you die, the reason they put you to the side is because you were an organ donor. They just kind of like said, "Well, attend you in 30 minutes. Hold on, things are busy. Just wait." But they know that you're an organ donor in the back of their. They know you're an organ donor in the back of their head. And we brought this to Chicago's attention, and he was like, he started thinking about it. And he's like, "Nah, man, fuck this shit. Like, how do you get rid of this shit? How do you take this off? How do I become a non-organ donor? What do I got to do to get rid of this shit? Fuck this shit." I'm not a medical expert. I'm not saying this happens 100% of the time. But my nigga Chicago, we put those thoughts and the circumstances and scenarios in his head, and he started thinking about it, and he's like, "You know what? You might be onto something. You might be onto something." And ever since my biology teacher, my biology teacher brought that to my attention in 8th grade, before I was even a freshman in high school. It just got me to thinking, and I was like, makes sense. By the way, I'm from the Lone Star State. I'm from Texas. I'm from the state where a virus has more rights than a female has rights. That's the state that I was raised in. So if you're an organ donor in the Lone Star State, they ain't looking at you as a hero. They're looking at you as money makes the world go around, whether it's round or a sphere or a hypercube. Money makes the world go around. So just something to think about. Chris, I hope all is well. I hope you're doing fine. Peace out.